Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the DC Capstone Report. We're glad that you're back with us today for another podcast on Alabama football. I just want to remind you as we get started, Lance and I, each and every week, we appreciate you tuning in to listen to what we have to say. And I want to tell you about Lance. Lance Shores does a great job of producing this podcast with the videos and the pictures that he puts up while I'm talking. And I want to tell you something else. Lance goes out of his way each week for every home game to make sure that he has great footage of the $1 Million Band, the cheerleaders, the Crimson Nets, the football team, and just the event. This past week at Texas A&M, Lance had some wonderful shots. So I encourage you to go to his website at rolltidebama.com or freelancepictures.com and get a copy of some of those pictures. Look at some of those videos of the $1 Million Band. It was just a great festive day for the Alabama game. So we're great that we get to do this. We feel really the love from all of you guys who tune in each week, who've tweeted us or texted us or sent us a message, and we just want to thank you. We don't take it for granted each and every week as y'all tune in to listen to what we have to say about Alabama football. Well, today on the broadcast, in our first segment, we're going to review the game against Texas A&M. In our second segment, we're going to talk about our players of the game. And then in our third and final segment, we're going to preview the upcoming game against the undefeated Tennessee Volunteers.
You're listening to the DC Capstone Report. The DC Capstone Report is featured each Tuesday morning on the Martin Houston Show at Tide 100.9. You can listen live at tide100.9.com.
Well, here we are back on another edition of the DC Capstone Report. Thank you all for tuning in this week. In the first segment, we're going to review the game against Texas A&M. Well, Alabama comes away with a hard-fought victory, 24 to 20. 24 to 20. I had predicted a blowout of 49-14. I thought that Bryce Young was going to play. I thought we were going to have an opportunity to blow them out and put a whipping on Texas A&M, but I was completely wrong. Bryce Young did not get to play. We had a game where it was tough, deciding on a last play to end the game, a defensive play, a pass breakup to end the game. We come away with a 24 to 20 victory. One thing my friend Gary Shores always told me was that you can always be happy when you win. You'd rather learn lessons when you win than learn lessons when you lose. It feels a lot better, and I think I agree with him. Gary was always important to me to point out that when I was critical when we had a victory, that we did win the game. So I start by saying that it was a great win. We won the game. We're still undefeated. Everything that we want to do is before us. So everything I'm going to say that might seem critical about our offense is on the backdrop of, hey, I understand we won the game, but I think there's some ways that we can help. One thing I said in my preview of the game last week was we couldn't make mistakes, and that is exactly what we did. We go into this game and we make too many mistakes. We had 3 fumbles and an interception. Now, one of the fumbles was a great defensive play. I realized that we were playing against a team that was very tough, had some great 5-star talent on defense and offense. And particularly on defense, they were faster than some of the other teams we played. And they tackled really hard and really well. So one of the fumbles that Jace McClellan had was a hat on a ball. I don't think anyone could have kept that ball from being fumbled the way he was tackled. So I discount one of them, but it was still a mistake. It was still a fumble. The other 2 fumbles that Jalen Milroe had were pocket presence and not being able to feel those people around him who were closing in, trying to stay too long in the pocket, and then trying to make something happen by not securing the ball. And then the interception, I believe, was him. He had a wide open receiver that was behind the coverage, but he didn't lead him enough. Had to slow down, and then we had a safety who was, because the ball hung up in the air, was able to catch up and intercept the ball. So we had too many mistakes. We had too many penalties. Again, in this game, we had too many penalties. So I think those mistakes are what kind of set our offensive back a little bit. The other thing I'd like to say, and I'm not trying to be critical of any one particular person, but I don't think that our coaching staff on offense prepared Jalen Milroe to be able to be in this game and do his best in this game. And what I mean by that, Well, it was clear to me, and this is my opinion. So, since I give my opinion from time to time, this is my opinion. But it appeared for me that we, as a team and coaches, believed that Bryce Young would be able to go. The evidence of that is he was announced as a starter in the lineup. He was announced on TV as a starter. He didn't throw a ball in warm-up, but I understand from people who were watching, he had warmed up in the tunnel prior to the game. There's many reports that he was already throwing the ball in practice and he was warmed up. Something happened between his warming up in the tunnel and game time that caused his shoulder to not be right, to tighten up or something. I know during the game he was lobbying to let him be put into the game. Even during one of the last drives, went out in the tunnel and warmed up again, told the coach he could go in. So I think all intents and purposes was for him to play in this game. And because he wasn't able to go, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we prepared Jalen Milroe to be able to go in and be his best. And what I mean by that is, I think in the practices they prepared as if Bryce was going to play and Milroe would come in like he did in Arkansas if needed be. But I think knowing how close it was for Bryce not to play, if we had prepared a scripted plays for Milroe to start with, it would have got him off on a better position. Our offensive coordinators in the past, like Steve Sarkisian or Lane Kiffin, have been able to take quarterbacks who may not have much experience and let them feel comfortable by giving them short passes and passes that are across his face so that you can don't have to read the coverages so much. And I think Jalen Milroe did a great job. So I'm not criticizing him. I think he did a great job in this game when they gave him passes like that. He had 3 touchdown passes that he was able to complete when they provided routes for him to read that were in his face, so he didn't have to look or read coverages. They were running in a way that he could have hit those passes. So I'm thinking that they had prepared him a little better. We'd have started a little better. But we start 3 and outs on 3 separate occasions and punt the ball and didn't get in a rhythm until the second quarter. And in the second quarter, we started running the ball and doing a good job of that, and then we went away from that. So we had. I just think that the offensive game plan in this game, in my opinion, lacked something to be desired, and I think that we could do better on that. So I think we need to work on that, make sure that we're scheming and planning for the right people to be in the game and put the right people in the right places to make plays. So on defense, great things to say about our defense. Our defense held Texas A&M in check in the running game. Devin Achane is a fantastic player for Texas, and again, such a great running back. We were able to hold for only 62 yards rushing, which I thought was a great accomplishment in this game. And for the game, Texas A&M, if you look at the game stats, they only had 70 yards rushing the entire game. So we held them under 70 yards rushing. So I was very pleased with that. We outgained them by total yards. We held them under 300 yards passing. So I was very pleased with the defensive production. I think we also had a good scheme in this. I really applaud Coach Golding in this. I think Pete Golding has kind of grown into a better role here. This cheetah package that he used with Will Anderson Jr., Dallas Turner, and Chris Braswell was very effective, I believe, in this game. We put pressure on the quarterback. We had opportunities for him to make mistakes. We had an interception in this game. So overall, I think the defense played a really good game. Our front seven, our linebackers, I think our cornerbacks did a good job in this game. Sometimes our safeties kind of let the speed of the Texas A&M get the best of them, put them in bad positions. I think that's one where we gave up a touchdown on one of the plays, and I think we made some penalties. Our safeties made some penalties that we normally wouldn't make by pass interference penalties in the end zone there. So I think it's some things we can clean up on defense, but really played a good game in this Texas A&M game. So overall, we got some improvement to make on the offensive side of the ball, but really played a good game on the defensive side of the ball. Well, here we are back in our second segment here on the DC Capstone Report. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure and check us out at dccapstonereport.com, freelancepictures.com, rolltidebama.com, and also you can follow us on Twitter at davidcott50. Well, my players of the game, the Texas A&M on offense, my offensive player of this game is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had his second game of over 150 yards. He had 21 carries for 154 yards, averaged 7.3 yards per carry. I thought he did an exceptional job in the running game. I don't think we threw to him enough. I believe if they had made a concerted effort to get him the ball in the passing game, he would have had just as many yards passing, because when they did get him the ball, he was able to average almost 5 yards per pass play. So I really think Jahmyr Gibbs is a great talent, and he showed it this game, and I think that he will continue to get better as long as we can give him the ball in open space. He just has that speed, that quickness, that being able to stick that foot in the ground and change directions. It really is sneaky against the defensive schemes. They think they have him, but boy, he can step that foot in the ground and really accelerate and get on down the field. So Jahmyr Gibbs is my offensive player of the game. My defensive player of the game is I want to name 4 players of the game. First of all, Tyrion Arnold. Tyrion Arnold out there on the island all by himself playing in on the cornerback position has really grown into that position this year. When you talk about the beginning of the year, we talked about him and no one else was talking about him. Everybody was talking about Eli Ricks, Kyrie Jackson, Kool-Aid McKinstry. And Tyrion Arnold was kind of lost, but he has really taken advantage of the opportunity to show what he can do. And he's got room to improve, but in this game he had an interception. He had multiple pass breakups. He had 4 tackles and 4 assists. And then including that last play where he himself, after he spoke after the game, he knew the ball was coming to him. He said he listened. He heard Jimbo Fisher on the sideline, the coach of the Texas A&M, calling out the person's name that he was guarding. He heard him yell, "Evan, Evan, Evan," 3 times. So in his mind, he got a little heads up that the ball was coming to him, and sure enough, that's exactly where the ball went. Tyrion Arnold was in a great position to knock that ball away. I'm just very pleased with the way that Tyrion Arnold has progressed in playing in that position, and he was one of my defensive players of the game. My other 3 defensive players of the game are the 3 that make up that cheetah package on the rush, and that is Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, and Will Anderson Jr. I want to talk about them as a group because of the way they played in this game. They, the group together, had over 19 quarterback hurries in this game. And Chris Braswell had a sack, and Dallas Turner had 2 sacks in this game. Will Anderson Jr. had 12 quarterback hurries in this game. He's credited with 12 hurries. That means in this cheetah package, what we're doing, and I think it's something that we can watch going forward, how much we use it. What they do is overload one side that Will Anderson Jr. is on with Chris Braswell. And Chris Braswell will play out sometimes, and Will Anderson Jr. will play in. Sometimes Chris Braswell will play in, and Will Anderson will play out. Either way, it allows the tackle on that side to have to commit to one or the other, and then someone else has to shift over if they're gonna chip or block him. And it keeps them from the back getting involved in that. And sometimes what it does is when they overload on that side to try to make sure they block those 2, it leaves Dallas Turner looping around the other side. It also allows Will Anderson Jr. to freelance, so to speak, into a stunt and move inside and swoop inside to get in and have a free shot at the quarterback. So if we were back in the old days where you couldn't just throw the ball away outside of the pocket and you had to eat it or get rid of it to a receiver, Will Anderson Jr. would have had multiple sacks in this game. He could have had 6 or 8 sacks. He was just in the face of the quarterback so many. So my defensive players of the game are Tyrion Arnold, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, and Will Anderson Jr. Well, welcome back to the DC Capstone Report. That brings us up to our 3rd and final segment today, the preview of the game against the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee Volunteers. How long has it been to say that we could go into this game, both teams undefeated, with an opportunity to be in the top 10? Both of these teams undefeated. Alabama's undefeated. Tennessee's undefeated. It's been 15 years or more since Tennessee has beaten Alabama, and they are hungry for a victory in this game. And we're playing at Knoxville and Neyland Stadium. There'll be over 100,000 people screaming and yelling and making so much noise that it's going to be hard to even hear yourself think in this game. That's what Alabama's up against. going on the road. Well, the number one thing we need to realize is what's the status of Bryce Young. What I've heard is that he's going to be able to play in this game absent some kind of setback in practice this week. But I think we need to have Jalen Milroe a package ready for him to go in and run in case something happens to Bryce Young during this game, whether his soreness in the shoulder comes back, it stiffens up, or he gets hit. You know, every player on the Tennessee team is going to know that Bryce Young has a shoulder injury, and they're going to be hitting him, trying to get him out in the pocket. So we're going to have to do a good job of protecting Bryce Young in this game and have a package ready that Jalen Milroe can come in and run that's just his plays if he's called on. But I think we're going to have Bryce Young ready, and what he needs to do is go into this game, and first of all, we can make no mistakes. On the road, in that atmosphere, we're going to have silent counts and make no mistakes, no penalties and no turnovers. We're going to be able to run the ball. We've already shown we can run the ball. We need to run the ball, take the pressure off the passing game, and then we're going to have to take advantage of what Tennessee gives us. I believe they're going to try to come up to the line of scrimmage and stop the run, try to stop Jahmyr Gibbs. But I believe we're going to need to get Jahmyr Gibbs out in space and take advantage of him in the passing game in this game. Tennessee has a great offensive team, and I'll get to that in a minute. But their defense has a tendency to give up big plays. They're way down in the conference in defensive passing, and so I believe there's some plays to be made down the field if Bryce Young can make those plays, and the wide receivers can get open in space, and we can make no mistakes in the passing game. I believe that we can get out to a lead in this game and then run the ball. What we want to try to do is we want to try to have extended drives where we don't get off the field and punt. We want to be able to stay on the field and run the ball and take advantage of time possession. The less plays we give Tennessee, the less opportunity they'll have to stretch our defense. So when we're on offense, we want to maintain possession of the ball, run short passes, and score on long possessions if possible. If we break it open with a long run, wonderful, that's great. But when we get back to the ball, our intensity must be to try to extend drives and not get off the field early and give the opportunity for the offense. So we need to maintain possession in this game. I think we can do that with the combination of Bryce Young, Jahmyr Gibbs, and the wideouts that we have in place to catch the ball on those short crossing routes. When Tennessee has the ball, what they're going to do is try to stress our defense and spread the field. They don't want us to be bottled up. They're going to try to spread the field and run on us fast plays so that we cannot bring our other packages in. So what we're going to have to do in the coaching standpoint, I think, and this is going to be up to Coach Saban and up to our defensive coaches to scheme this week in order to find the package to put on the field that puts us in the best position to be able to defend against these plays. You know, I would probably see that the cheetah package might be used more in this, and the star package might be used more in this than any other game, because we can't get them on the field on those third down packages. It may be a every down type package where you use and to try to stop Tennessee. We're going to have to stop the run because they run fast to set up the passing game. And we can't let Hendon Hooker beat us with his legs. We've got to make him stay in the pocket and throw the ball, and we've got to pressure the quarterback so that he has to get the ball out early. If we're going to win this game on the road in such a hostile environment, we're going to have to get them to make the mistakes, and we're going to have to score early and often to try to get the ground out of the game. And I think that we can do that. I think if we do our best in this week. This will be the week that we find out what our coaches are made of, to put our players in the best position to win on the road. Did we learn anything against Texas? Did we learn anything at Arkansas? Can we correct our mistakes from last week? And can we go on the road in a hostile environment and play to the Bama standard? And what I mean by that is we need to play in a way to make the other team quit. We need to be on offense and defense with the mindset of make the other team quit. And we can't get caught up in this fast-paced scheme of Tennessee and get our defense stretched to a position where we can't maintain our composure and make plays. I believe Tennessee will get a big play. They're a big play defense. But we can't let that ruin us for the entire game. We got to be able to play within ourselves one play at a time. And I think Alabama does just that. I believe we're going to go into Neyland Stadium. It's a chance on a national stage with everybody there. Game day is there. SEC Nation is there. It's a national game on CBS. Probably more people to watch this game than any other game on Saturday. All eyes will be for us to make a statement. And I think we do this. That we go in there, we play to our ability, we limit our mistakes, we play with passion and tenacity on defense to keep Tennessee bottled up, and we get a big lead and take the crowd out of the game. I think Tennessee scores some late on some big plays and makes it a game, but I think Alabama goes into Neyland Stadium and wins this game 45-31. 45-31. Well, that's it this week on the DC Capstone Report. Thank you for tuning in and listening to what we had to say about Alabama football. Don't forget to check out Lance's other sites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com for some great Alabama content. Thanks, have a great week, and Roll Tide.